Welcome to Greek for a Week. We are looking at the final two verses of the book of 1 Peter. So we're going to look at verses 13 and 14. Again, as we discussed last week, this is part of Peter's conclusion, which is chapter 5, verses 12 through 14. So 13 and 14 would translate something like this. The co-elect one in Babylon, and Mark, my son, greet you. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to you all, which are in Christ. Again, the final couple of verses here for Peter in his first letter. Aspazetai, this first verbal form here is a third person singular present middle indicative of aspazamai. So the etai here would be our ending, etai, and that would be third person singular. You have here en, which is a preposition that begins the phrase. We would contend there that that's a spatial or a locative function where it modifies, again, where it is that these co-elect are found, and that is in Babylon. The ha-weos here, that is a nominative of apposition to basically further describe Markos or Mark. He is specifically a son. And then if you look further, the genitive form here, mu, that modifies ha-weos as a genitive of relationship. So in Peter's case, he is suggesting that Mark here is my son or his son. Now, verse 14, here's the aspatzathe. Okay, here is my imperative form. That's why it's you greet. So second person plural, aorist middle imperative. So you greet specifically who, and you would greet one another. You could say now, how am I supposed to greet? There's the en, another preposition that starts this phrase here, the en phile madi agapes. So here, all right, how do I greet? So this is a dative of manner. It supports how it is that we are to greet one another. Now we have a tois here. Tois is a dative article, and that article precedes a prepositional phrase. Whenever that's the case, the article now functions as an adjective. It changes the prepositional phrase, if you will, into a modifier of humen pasin. In other words, you all, this phrase here, you all which are in Christ. So it's claiming, or I should say it's modifying now, you all are being modified by the phrase here in Christ. And of course, the en Christo would probably indicate a dative of association. Therefore, you are associated with, or you are in union with Christ. So that's verses 13 and 14. Hope to see you next week, if you can view the video, that would be excellent, because we will diagram chapter 5, verses 12, 13, and 14. Just to give you a little bit of a hint as we move forward. So next week we'll diagram. The following week, my plan is to move on to a Pauline writing. I have not completely decided which one I'm planning to do. I'm leaning a little bit toward Ephesians, might even tackle one of the Thessalonian letters as well. So one of those two, again, hopefully we'll see you next week to wrap up this final paragraph, and then the following week to start a Pauline writing. Have a great week.